So with just days left to his administration, Biden is coming out and enacting all sorts of laws, or not laws, there are regulatory mandates stating things that can't be done after he leaves office. And these are all going to be reversed by Trump. Trump has already come out and said so. Things like drilling in different places for oil and all this other stuff. But one of those things I saw and I was like, oh, I'm going to do a video on that because that directly affects me. Or it would have affected me years ago, but it could affect me in the future and probably is going to affect a lot of homesteaders. So years ago, before we get into that, this video is sponsored by OUPES. There's no oops and OUPES is their phrase, and they are coming out with a new Exodus 1200 that's going to be perfect for ham radio communications and perfect for internet. If your power goes out in your house, you can still have internet. I'll talk about more about that at the end of the video, so stay tuned. But years ago, I saw a video that Danny did over at Deep South Homestead. And I've enjoyed their channel over the years. And one of the things he was installing was one of these on-demand hot water heaters. And I think it was the EcoFlow or something similar to that. Anyway, I did some more research after he did that video. He kind of set me on that course to, figure out how I can do this for my homestead because we're off-grid here. And he was building an off-grid cabin, I think. And I settled on the Rinnai on-demand hot water heater. It seemed like it would fit our needs really well, and I liked the quality. And and I watched a lot of videos of people installing these things, and I said, that's the one I want to go with. And so I now have on-demand hot water here on my homestead, and it was a game changer, fantastic. I love it. But Biden, in all of his infinite wisdom, has now decided that he's going to take those away from you. If you want to install one of these on your home, you're going to have to pay more. And we're going to take away a lot of these options from you because, they're harming the environment. They're destroying our planet. So, yeah, years ago, if you remember, they just said, we're going to take away these gas stoves. And they started to do EPA mandates because the Environmental Protection Agency is out there trying to save the planet for you so that you can have a more enjoyable life. And by doing that, we're going to take away your gas stoves. And the administration was like, there was so much kickback and fuss over this that the administration, we're not trying to take away your gas stove, even though they were on camera saying that they were definitely going to take away your gas stoves.
Come on, man.
And so that kind of fell by the wayside, and this has kind of not been on the radar. It's been done quietly, but it was picked up by Zero Hedge. Let's go ahead and take a look at the article. If you have an off-grid homestead, or if you want to have an off-grid homestead, but you still want to be able to have hot water, like an on-demand hot water heater provides, and I love mine. It's almost instant, very, very quick. Fantastic. It's really the only way that I'm tied to the grid. I get propane. My propane, would probably last me about 2 or 3 years. But we as soon as it gets to a certain level that I need, that the company will come out and fill it up, I call the company and we fill it up to keep it topped off. But it's really my one tie to the grid. And I love the fact that I have that on-demand hot water heater. It is powered by propane. Let's take a look at the article and you can decide for yourself if this is just basically gas stove 2.0. Over at zerohedge.com, Tyler Durden writes, Biden quietly bans most gas-powered tankless water heaters. Quietly. And this is why I haven't seen this really in a lot of places. In a significant regulatory shift that took place quietly the day after Christmas. The Grinch is still at work. The Biden administration finalized new climate rules targeting natural gas-powered instantaneous water heaters. The Department of Energy, DOE, which traditionally issues a press release for such regulations, chose not to announce these changes, publicly raising eyebrows across various sectors. According to the Free Beacon, the new regulations aim to reduce carbon dioxide emissions, a move aligned with broader climate change mitigation efforts. We're trying to save the planet. However, the regulations are set to remove approximately 40% of the current tankless water heater models from the market by 2029. That's just around the corner. This shift is expected to force consumers to opt for either more expensive or less efficient alternatives. An industry analysis forecasts that the average cost increase for new water heaters due to the regulations will be around $450. Oh, This price hike is poised to disproportionately affect low-income and senior households who are among the most reliant on the more affordable models currently targeted for phase-out. Meanwhile, the timing of these regulations is noteworthy. See, they don't want you to have affordable energy or affordable hot water. They want things to be expensive because if we make things expensive, less people will use these things that are destroying the planet, and thus we save the planet. That's their thinking. It says, meanwhile, the timing of these regulations is noteworthy, coming in the wake of President-elect Donald Trump's electoral victory over Vice President Kamala Harris. Trump has expressed intentions to roll back many of Biden's climate initiatives to bolster energy production and stimulate economic growth. This regulatory push on water heaters is part of a series of actions targeting household appliances, including gas stoves, refrigerators, aimed at reducing carbon emissions and promoting electric alternatives. This is what I've said from the very beginning. This planet does not have the copper and metals inside of it to provide all of these electronic alternatives. It takes copper to move this electricity, and there's not enough copper on planet Earth to make all of this electric. And it's never going to happen. You know, they're pushing something that physically cannot happen. It makes you just roll your eyes. Ben Lieberman, a senior fellow at the Competitive Enterprise Institute, criticized the move, saying it bans an entire category of tankless water heaters and the ones that are most affordable. This is all part of the climate change agenda and antipathy towards natural gas because they want to electrify everything. Again, an impossible task. It physically can't happen. Industry's response and legal challenges, the regulation has sparked extensive debate about its legality and practicality. The American Gas Association has hinted at possible legal action that hopefully that won't even take place. As soon as Trump gets in office, he can reverse this. Congress is not going to be able to pass this law. It's not going to be passed by Congress. It's written by an executive order and can be reversed by an executive order. Frank Windsor, president of Renai America. Now, Renai is the brand that I went with here at the Homestead. And I'm very happy with the system. I've been using it now for a couple of years. A few years, maybe, whatever it is, and I'm very happy with it. I have to shut it down sometimes because of the weather. Like right now, it's all shut down, and I empty it. And when the temperatures warm up, I fire it right back up, and it works fine. And I clean it like once a year with a vinegar solution. But it's really easy to do. It says the nation's leading manufacturer of tankless water heaters voiced strong opposition. He highlighted the contradiction in eliminating higher efficiency product categories, telling the Beacon, if you really want to impact the water heating ruling, you really need to deal with the tank models. Renai America, having invested $70 million in a new facility in Georgia based on the previous administration's manufacturing incentives, finds itself at risk of seeing its investment become obsolete under the new rules. So here's a company that's employing Americans and building product here in America, and they are investing millions, tens of millions, $70 million in a new facility to build those products. And now here is Biden rebuilding the economy by shutting it down, by putting it at risk of having to shut it down and making these obsolete. Is this absolute insanity? I don't care what you think about Trump. And there's lots of reasons why I hold in doubt some of the things Trump wants to do. I question him. I'm not a MAGA cultist. Okay, he's just a man. He's not a savior. You know, he's not divine. But I guarantee you, sure shooting, there is no way he's going to be banning home appliances in the next 4 years. And and that be sure shooting, a guaranteed bet to make. You can take that to Vegas. I don't go to Vegas. But if you went to Vegas, you could make that bet and make it pretty confidently. There's no way Kamala would have been a better, president than Trump. I'm very happy that Trump is going to be president. I don't have to worry about my on-demand hot water heaters or appliances. If we could just get that, incandescent light bulb thing fixed and reversed and start selling those again, that would be great. And maybe that'll happen under Trump. I don't know, but, if Trump gets kicked out, the next one will just reverse it again. We got to a point of absurdity here, ladies and gentlemen, in this country where one party is going to be like, okay, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And people are like, well, Zach, it's all the same, two wings of the same bird. Perhaps, but the way I see it right now, both wings of that bird hate this guy. And that makes me like him a little bit more. And so I know some people out there don't trust him. I don't trust him either. He's a politician. You never trust politicians, okay? That's great advice for life. But I guarantee you, he's not going to be taking away home appliances like the other candidate absolutely would have. There is no doubt this is a better option. And the lesser of, let me just rant here for a second. I often hear people say, well, Zach, I'm not voting for the lesser of two evils. Okay, that's fine. But that's a comment that's left usually by people who believes that the world revolves around them. You're never going to find a clone of yourself to run for office. Let me repeat that. You're never going to find a clone of yourself to run for office. So you will always be voting for the lesser of two evils. Because anyone who disagrees with you on something in your mind automatically puts them in that evil category. The people who say, I'm not voting for the lesser of two evils, never had their parents when growing up saying, hey, the world doesn't revolve around you. The world doesn't revolve around you. So until that day when you can clone yourself or you yourself can run for office, you will always be voting for someone who doesn't see the world the way you do. Tell me I'm wrong in the comments below. Tell me I'm absolutely wrong in the comments below. I don't care because I'm right. I know I'm right. And I've said that before. I'm just as guilty. I'm not voting for the lesser of two evils. The reality is I have a king already. My king is coming. My king is coming. And he will rule and reign on this earth. And his rule will be absolute. Absolute. So I'm not worried about that. And I don't trust in any man. But there's no way you're going to convince me that I'd rather have Kamala Harris be in that office rather than Trump. No, I like my stove. I have a gas stove. I like my wood stove. I have that too. And I like my on-demand propane, on-demand hot water heater. I love it. Absolutely love it. Okay, OUPES. No, oops and OUPES. So they're coming out with the new 1200 and the 600 I've reviewed here before on my channel. And the main benefit of having a unit like this is ham radio communications. Okay, and then I'll give you the second really big benefit too. And if you look at their website, and they have all kinds of different things that you can power with this, small appliances, stuff like that. But reality is, I'm a big proponent of you having ham radio communications, having like a VHF or a UHF or a CB radio or maybe some sort of other HF rig where you can have a way to communicate and really just listen if things really go upside down in this country, because we all think we're gonna get there. So if things really go upside down in this country, to have a way to be able to power those communications, and if you have some DC units that would normally go into, because the expensive AC units for like a base station, they're expensive. You're going to spend several $100s minimum. And some of the mobile units are DC powered, and you're going to, for the really good ones, you can spend several $100s minimum. But they make other ones that are unlocked, not really FCC compliant, but you can still buy them in this country for a limited time. I mean, that's another reason. Oh my goodness. And it may happen under Trump too. I'm not going to try to predict the future, but I think some of these units are going to be banned at some point. The FCC is like, these things coming into this country are illegal to operate. They are not under our guidelines. They're not compliant with how we mandate our communication laws. And so that window will close. I tell people, get these things now. Well, once you have these things, you want to be able to power them reliably. And that's where the OUPES Exodus 1200 comes into. So this provides AC power if it's an AC unit. It provides DC power if it's a DC unit. And it has USB plugins where you can plug in USB devices and charge those as well. And some of these handheld units plug in with USB-C power. Well, this will do it all. So if you have a ham radio and the power goes out and you want to be able to power that ham radio, I do the exact same thing over at my radios. I power this stuff with an OUPES solar generator. And you can recharge these things with solar panels. You can get dedicated panels, which I have, or you can buy the foldable ones too. We'll do another video on the benefits and negatives and positives of all that at some point. But I think this is a great opportunity for you to use those to power these communication devices. And you should be putting an emphasis on getting these communication devices now. And then make sure you have a way to power it. Okay, so the other one was internet. So years ago, if you guys grew up in the 80s like me, a lot of times when power would go out, we'd lose power. And I grew up in St. Louis. Sometimes you'd lose power with a storm or something. If you picked up the phone, you know, that old phone, that rotary phone that we all had back in the 70s and 80s, you could actually still hear a dial tone even though the power of your house was out. It's the same way with the internet. A lot of times, even though you lose power, your internet, your fiber, because a lot of us are on fiber now, your fiber line is powered with your own AC power of your home. You plug it in, and then that powers your internet. And even if I lose power in my house, I can still get internet. I power my own fiber line here. And, you know, it's the same way with DSL. I can still, it's a phone line. It's still live. It's still on. And so if your power goes out, you can use one of these Exodus 1200 units to go ahead and plug in your router, plug in your fiber line, and you've got internet even though you have no power. But a lot of people don't know that's possible. But that's absolutely possible. And that's why I think it's a great idea for you to have one of these units. So I've just given you two examples of why, preparedness, homesteading wise, why I think you should have these units and use them, and get one now today and then learn how it operates, and then also get some of this other equipment like the ham radio communications and getting familiarized with that. Okay, what do you guys think? Leave a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on all this hot water talk. It's mostly going to be reversed probably when Trump takes office, maybe not day one, but hopefully soon after that. So I'm not too worried about it, but it's like, he's just like one more before you go, you know? And it's frivolous because it can be reversed. Why do it? Why cause more division? Why cause more anger, anguish? Why ruin American jobs? Why? It makes no sense. And it's just more, there's some really radical people in DC controlling this guy. And that's in my opinion, what I think is going on. But what do you think? I'd love to hear your thoughts. All right, guys. Love you. See you next time in the Homestead. Bye. One of the best perks about living off-grid is that I never pay an electric bill. I love being my own power company, but that means when things go wrong, I have to be the one on call. So I try and use reliable components for my power production. For the last couple of years, I have been promoting OUPES solar generators. I've been using them and abusing them, and as it turns out, they are pretty good products. They have power generators for all occasions, and they can be charged by permanent or portable solar panels, as well as AC power. They offer true lithium iron phosphate batteries, and this is important. Recently, a family in my area had a different brand that uses the less stable nickel manganese cobalt or NMC type batteries. The unit caught fire in the middle of the night. It was a scary situation and it caused damage to the home, but thankfully nobody was hurt. The generator, as you can see, was a total loss. This drives home the point on why it's so important to employ solar generators like the OUPES brand that uses the much more safe and stable technology of lithium iron phosphate, otherwise called LiFePO4. They offer small generators for travel or for powering an entire home and everything in between. These are great backups to have in a medical emergency or to power a freezer full of your favorite meat products, or as I have shown in past videos, for even backup AC and DC power sources for ham radio communications. If the grid goes down, you're going to be thankful you have one of these units. You can find the link in the description of this video or click on the banner ad found on the front page of our website at AmericanHomestead.com. Right here, that banner ad right there on AmericanHomestead.com. Hey guys, did you know you can become a patron of an American Homestead? They get access to private videos, and we send them gifts from the homestead that we make here on the homestead. And we also enter our patrons into special giveaways that are only available to them. And before you go, please check out these other great videos. Go ahead, click. Oh wait.